When you think of sled dog teams racing across a snow-covered landscape, the images that come to mind are likely those of regions with permafrost or Arctic tundras that see a limited amount of sunlight each day. But the deluge of snow this winter has allowed a small group of local Siberian Husky dog breeders to practice their mushing skills right here in Frederick County on the C&O Canal towpath. Joe Fitzgerald of Jefferson is one of a small, tight-knit group that, on a recent morning, could be found passing cross-country skiers under a gentle snow and point of rocks.
People with Siberian Huskies, a lot of us tend to lean toward, working them. And working them is naturally putting them in front of a sled. Some of these races are huge. The one we went to, Kalkaska, near Traverse City, Michigan, had over 100 teams entered and different classes. And so you get a chance to get to know a lot of people, and a lot of people are very helpful. I mean, that's how you pick up tips and pick up ways to run and equipment ideas.
It's a bit of a rarity to have snow deep enough in this area to be able to run the dogs in front of an actual sled. So once conditions become cool enough, the group turns to wheeled versions of the sled to train for races.
They're heavier than sleds, so in a sense they get trained on the heavier vehicles, and then we transition to sleds when the season starts.
When there's snow that is deep enough, unloading the dogs from their individual compartment on the back of a pickup truck and readying the team can be somewhat time-consuming. The dogs seem to radiate eagerness, ready to do what they were originally bred for. Fitzgerald, who retired from the Department of Energy, says the single most important thing about racing is to identify a good leader for the team. One that is not just physically strong, but more importantly, has the mental fortitude to keep running even when tired.
It's really more upstairs. It's in the head. It's in the drive, motivation, the intelligence, the ability to take commands. Good leaders are very hard to find, and typically you start picking up on a good leader when they're young and puppies, and you start seeing that they have this sort of innate ability to respond. And we look for that, and it's a hard thing to find. We have friends who race with us from this area who have actually purchased leaders from up north because it's just so hard to race without a good leader.
But while some are forced to buy a leader, Fitzgerald is actually able to borrow one that he originally bred. This dog, a female, spends the winter leading his team and then goes home to South Dakota for the off-season.
The racing to us is a punctuation point. It sort of validates, how well we have trained and whether we ourselves have acquired skills to mush the dogs. And it's just a lot of fun to see how they perform.
Fitzgerald began racing sled dogs decades ago, having been mentored by an experienced musher. Now retired, he's the experienced musher and is now ushering in a new generation to the sport.
Oh, it's really neat. I mean, it's sort of unexpected. We were mentored 20, 30 years ago, and we did it for a few years, and then for various reasons, mostly kids, we got back out of it. And then the next generation sort of borrowed our equipment because they wanted to try it, and that was just enough to get us involved because we had to mentor them. And once we started doing that, the bug bit, and we got back in. When we first started, as novices, we were happy just to finish the race. It's no longer fighting to finish the race, no longer fighting to be competitive. You're fighting to be in the top three, and you're trying to figure out what makes the difference.
During the off-season, Fitzgerald says it's a lot like playing the role of a general manager of a baseball team, trying to figure out which players, or in this case dogs, need to be swapped out, or how to get the most out of each member of the team.
It's kind of sad to see the season end, actually, because we've actually done better and better every race. But the next season comes soon enough.